In our last video, we looked at NodeJS and using the AWS SDK to handle a scan and a query. So we have our scan and query code. So here's our query code where we're looking for all the players who have a team ID of playerinfo_LAA. And then we also have a scan where we're scanning all of the records and looking at all of those records. So what I want to do is I want to expand this. So the next option that I want to look at is a scan or a query with a filter. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue with our query code. So I'm going to add a new file. So I'm going to add a new text file. I'm going to call this one query and filter. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file as query and filter.mjs. And I'm going to bring the query code over, so the query code that we had. I'm going to go ahead and bring that over. And I want to continue with the query, but I want to add a filter expression. So I have a key condition expression. I'm also going to add a filter expression. And the filter expression I'm going to use is I'm going to say where the position is equal to a specific position. Okay. Now I have to include that position in the expression attribute values. So our position, I actually want to look for a player whose position is right field. Okay, so we have that expression attribute value included in our query now. I want to run the query command and then look at the records. I'm expecting one result back from the query and filter. So we're looking at all the Angels players, and then there's one specific player that is a right fielder, and that's Cole Calhoun. So I want to go ahead and run this. So node and then query and filter.js. And you'll notice I get an error. And if I bring up this terminal window, the error message is that I get a module not found. Interesting that I'm getting a module not found. I'm not sure why I'm getting a module not found. I just want to make sure that I handle things. So if I look at package.json, I'm requiring the AWS SDK clients, DynamoDB and the util DynamoDB. I'm going to go ahead and do an npm install just to verify that I didn't miss something there. And then I want to go ahead and try to run that command again. And I'm still getting a module not found. I just want to see if I can run query. Okay. I had JS and not MJS. It looks like it's complaining about me trying to connect. So I wonder if I have my DynamoDB table running, and it looks like it's crashed. So let me go ahead and start up DynamoDB again. Okay, so that looks better. And now if I do my query, okay, I'm getting my Angels players. Okay, so that looks good. But I'm going to do a query and filter, and you'll notice I get my error. Okay, so I'm getting an error, and the error message is kind of embedded in the error, but I have an attribute name as a reserved keyword as position. So I think our query and filter is working, but I have another issue now where I'm trying to deal with the position attribute, and the position attribute is actually a keyword. Okay, so if you've looked at the previous video where I'm looking at advanced scan, query, and filter from a terminal window, you saw that position was a keyword, and we figured out how to resolve that, and we did that with expression attribute names, where we can essentially alias an attribute. So what I want to do is I want to say expression attribute names. And the way I'm going to handle expression attribute names is basically I have a alias $, I'm going to say $position, which is going to map to the position attribute. And then I'm going to use that alias, and if it makes more sense, I probably should define the alias before the filter expression. I don't have to. Order is not important here, but for my own sanity, I am going to set up the alias. So basically the # position is going to refer to the column position. So here's the # position. And once I have that in place, now I should be able to run my query and filter, and you'll see that I get my one record, which is Cole Calhoun. Okay, so I'm querying down to just the Angels players, and then once I've done that query, I do a follow-up filter expression where the position's equal to right field. Okay, and that's how I end up with my one player. Okay, so that's a query and filter example through JavaScript code. I could have expanded this, so I can run that same thing with my scan. Okay, so I could have put a filter expression and an expression attribute names where I filter down by position, where I'm looking at all the records and then just checking the records that have a position of right field. So that filter works with both query and scan operations. Okay. The next thing I want to look at is inserting and deleting and updating data, and that'll be in the next video.